Welcome to my coat tutorial. This is another piece in the Winter Wonderland collection and it's all about layering with that one. So I've chosen jeans to go with a jersey cardigan underneath it. This jeans fabric has little or no give, so that's fine to use. And it's fantastic because it's got two sides to it, so I could use the wrong side to make the cuffs here, which I think is really cool. You can turn them up, obviously, but I think also it looks cool like this. And the other thing is that your kids are very likely to just grow higher. A lot of them actually don't get a lot bigger, so this will fit for a long time because all you have to do is roll them down and it's another year of wear. So that's a really good idea. For this one, the hoodie one, I've actually used some eyelets here, and then I've made these beautiful little toggle ends, and I've put these wonderful like sort of snowdrops on there. I found those in Mood and you can get them from their website. These are also buttons I bought at Mood. I like them because they're so different. And let's open up this coat so we can look on the inside. For the lining, I've used a very soft brushed cotton, which I think works really well, especially when it's cold outside, you want to be warm. And the hood, I actually ran out of fabric. I wanted to do the hood in jeans on the outside and on the inside with this, and I didn't have enough jeans. So I did the trim, and to be honest, I really like the trim. So now it's a design with a trim. See, sometimes that's how it works. And this is, again, a really simple coat to make. You've also got pockets. I think absolutely essential for young people. They want to put their hands in, right? You need pockets, very important. And then this whole thing can be layered up, like I said, with a cardigan, with the skinny jeans that are also in the collection, and it'll just look absolutely fabulous. Here we've got it with a collar, which you can roll up like this, which I think is quite cool, or you can wear it down. You've got, again, you've got really nice big buttons. I would only use 3 because you can put in more, but I think you don't need to. And I used a stripy shirting for men as the lining, and I also made a lily top with that, which I absolutely love. I think it's ever so cute. It's a very lightweight wool I've used here, so of course these are not cheap, these wools, but they are so good. So it's so much lighter than the jeans fabric, and it was actually very easy and very simple to work with, really fast. From the back, just a plain coat. I think the cut of this coat is where it's special. It will really sit on your shoulders. It's got like a slight A-line, but not too much, and it's just a very simple, stylish overcoat. And from the inside here, let's have a look at this beautiful lining. I think the lining always makes something stand out. One thing though I need to point out to you is that this wool is really scratchy, so I am not sure that if you're not wearing some clothes underneath it and cover everything, that this would be too comfortable. So you want to watch that. With the instructions you get a load of stuff that you need to make the coat, like which fabrics are suitable, how to print off your pattern, how to put it all together. And you've got some charts with the finished body measurements and the finished garment measurements, and also of course very detailed how much fabric you need. Diagrams as what you can do with it, all the links to the videos, and some additional videos which are really useful if you wanted to pipe a collar or something. Then the first set of instructions here is done in a diagram form. That is for the unlined coat, because I know some of you really like working with diagrams. I've also included a diagram on how to do a bound buttonhole in case you have a really terrible buttonholer on your machine and it really looks awful. Then just do that, try it. And then I've included the photo instructions that you're all used to for the lined version of the coat. When you are cutting out, you need to first of all check that your scale is right. That's either 5 centimeters or an inch. And because I don't do anything multi-size, every size has its own file for you. That makes it a lot easier. And each item has got attachment lines to it. So you just have to cut them all out and sort them into little piles with the flowers on, and you know those pieces go together. Let's have a look at our pattern now in a little bit more detail. This is my front piece, and we've got those yellow flowers which tell you everything with that belongs to the front piece, and they go in alphabetical order, so they go from A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. And this differs from size to size, so the bigger the size, the more pieces you have. And you've also got a layout plan. Now that's really helpful for you, because you can see for 110 centimeters wide, this is how I lay it out, but also you can see how many pieces have to go together, see? So you have got a plan on how to put things together, but the same plan also shows you how to cut things out. On these plans, I've included both the hood and the collar here and here. So if you take the hood out, you might find you actually need a little bit less fabric, but not much. As you can see, the hood really goes in a dead space where we couldn't really put anything else. And so I have in the actual instructions, of course, a chart which tells you exactly how much you need if you do the collar, if you do the hood. But for all of you that like it visually, just go to the plan, have a quick look, say, okay, it says I need 2 meters on the shell fabric, my outside fabric. And then for the lining, I need 1.20 meters. I get that. If I have a little bit left over, so be it. But I have to say, and when you look at my plans, I jam pack things in. I don't like waste whatsoever. So they are not for anyone that wants like 50 centimeters left over. You won't have it. I'll go from end to end here. So make sure you buy a little bit more if you pre-wash, and it might shrink. So, right, let's have a look at the front piece then. You've got some markings up here. This here, this dotted line, is the line which actually tells you here is where my facing starts. So I'm just going to fold this over so you can see it. So we've got an integrated facing. That gives you a really nice front. And the hood will go right into that crease, whereas your collar will only start from here where it says attach collar from here. This is my collar, and I attach the collar from this point here, minus seam allowance, work my way around, right? And you've got a mark here on your pattern for the shoulder. So on your fabric, you need to snip this so that you know, aha, that's where my shoulder has to be. I've put an on the fold marking on here, but it would be quite good to actually just sellotape this down, flip it over, draw around it, so you have the whole piece, because you do need it twice. And on my layout plan, I'm doing exactly that. When you look closely here, you can see it's flipped over, so you get the collar in one. So you can make yourself one pattern piece if you like. The hood starts right here, minus seam allowance. Yeah, and it gets attached all round, round, and again you can see the marking here for the shoulder seam. So if you've marked that, all you need to do is line it up with that, and it will fit perfectly. Now the other thing we've got on the front piece is pockets. The pocket that comes with this is just a plain little side pocket. It's dead easy to do, but people have asked, can you do a web pocket as well? So I have marked this on here. The instructions for that are not in the written instructions. There is a link to a video from the sewing workshop where I show you how to do that, and there is a spring coat coming a couple of weeks after the release which will show you exactly how to do that on this coat if you need some further instructions. That's the front, and then attached to the front we've got the lining piece, and that's this one here. Now I'm just going to fold this out so you can see it from the front. The side piece is attached to the what is really effectively the facing, right? And you've got these notches here, so you must snip your fabric, not too deep, just a tiny little snip. And then when you sew this together, all you have to do is line the snips up, work your way around here. I've taken great pains again to get these in the right position for you so that it's easier to do. So that's your lining, and attached to this lining piece is then the back lining. Back lining is here, and you may wonder, all my pieces at the bottom have this funny little angle. Why do they have that angle? That is so that when this is turned up, it actually sits nicely on the seam. Okay, if you didn't do this, then you always have too much here and you need to hold it in. People that have made coats will know that that is the case. Then we're going to have a quick look here at the back piece. And here we've got a pink flower and we've got A, B, C, D and E. Okay, so you just stick those together on the attachment lines. For the back, we've got a facing, which you don't need if you have, say, a quilted lining or something with it. But this is the facing, which will be sewn straight onto the lining. Okay, so let's get the lining back out. Here it is. That goes onto the back, and then you can just sew that together. Now, one thing that is different between the lining and the upper fabric, let's have a look here. If you put the shoulder seams together, you'll notice, number one, we haven't got a pocket. Number two, it's shorter, so it doesn't hang out the bottom. And then number three, we have got a higher armhole line here. So if I just place this underneath it so it's easier for you to see, there's a 1 centimeter difference. Don't forget, you put the sleeve in, but this seam allowance is not folded down, it stands up, so your lining needs to be able to go over it, and that's why it's 1 centimeter longer. Let's have a look at the sleeve pattern pieces. We've got the shell sleeve and we've got a nice little yellow flower for it, A, B, C and D. I think that's on all of them the same, apart from the 12th, there's an extra piece. And then we've got the sleeve lining and we've got a really nice pink flower on that. So you know that's the lining. They're easy to confuse, so all right. And then we've got the cuff. When you put the sleeve together, you will see the same thing if you line up on the lower edge. Hang on, let's do that just like I did before. We're going to put this underneath it here. There we go. And you can see that the lining is higher again. Number one, now this sleeve will fit better in the lining armhole, obviously, because it's the same, but also this also needs to come round, right? So it comes up a bit higher and it will sit a whole lot better. The markings on your sleeve, you've got the sleeve head and you need to definitely snip that. Sometimes, depending on the fabric, I've had it that I've moved the sleeve head slightly forward or slightly back, just so the sleeve hangs with a slight tilt to the front, not too much. So, you know, you need to just pin in your sleeve and then see how it hangs. But most cases, this will be the perfect position for it. You've got a mark here, which tells you this is the front. You want to put a snip there so that you know that it is. The cuff that goes on the bottom of the sleeve here, it's just sewn on like that, is cut on the fold. Again, you could make yourself a big pattern piece by just sellotaping that too, drawing around it, cutting it out, and then you have the whole piece. Okay, and that will then be folded up and give you that nice turn up. Now, some people might say, well, I want the turn up to be a different fabric. I don't want it in the same fabric. Then you cut 2 in your contrast and 2 in your shell fabric. And then you've got that, and you then sew them together, and that is actually in the instructions when I did my line coat. The hood, you've got the hood facing, which goes on here. It's cut on the fold. On the red coat video, I actually didn't do that. I did it in 2 pieces because I hadn't fully developed the pattern yet at the time. I thought that was a good idea. I think it's much nicer on the fold, so you've got the pattern for that. You've also got a mark down here for the shoulder seam. Make sure that you snip that so you know that needs to be on the shoulder. And if you say, well, I don't want to use this part here, you can leave it off and just use the outer and inner and just stitch down here and create your tunnel without this. I think this gives it extra support and actually looks really cool, especially if you do it in a contrast, or just the top stitching on it looks awesome. So, but that's up to you if you want to do that. And I hope you really enjoy making this coat. Of course, there's going to be loads more videos popping up over the next few months. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye for now.